lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup.misfit, and this is part 2 in my makeup collection series. So part 1 is already up. It is going to be linked down below as well, so you can go and check that if you want. And then there is a playlist for my makeup collection videos for this year, so you can go click on that to watch everything from part 1 to part 4, which will eventually be posted as well. So this is my face palettes, and as I mentioned in my last video, which was my blushes, bronzers, highlighters, those were just the single pan compacts. This is anything from a duo up. So we're going to get into it. There are no disclaimers in any of my other videos going forward. It was just in the first one, so you go check that out if you wanted to hear anything. But that being said, let's get into this. So as I was kind of placing these things around, I kind of realized that I had a few products from a couple of brands that I didn't think I actually did. I thought most things were just like one product from one brand, but there are a few brands that I have multiple products from, so we're gonna get into those first. And we are gonna start off with the one with the only NARS because I have some words for them. So we're gonna start with this little duo. This is the Orgasm Duo, which comes with the blush and the highlighter. So this is what it's looking like. I have used this a little bit, but I had it in a project. I stopped using it because I wanted to get some work done on this bad boy, which is in a project currently. This is the Orgasm Trio. So this came with the blush, the bronzer, and the highlighter. As you can see, the highlighter is finished, but it is the exact same highlighter that was in here. If I can hold this open. We also have the Orgasm blush in both of them, and then this one just has the Laguna bronzer. Now with that, I also have this palette, which is a highlighting and bronzer palette, and this also has the Laguna bronzer here. Now we do have a couple or another bronzer and a few more highlighters, but this highlight, I think, is it this one? Ravage, I believe, is this top one here. This highlighter is also in this little highlighting trio that I have. So I think I'm good. This is what we're looking like. And I purchased this, I think it came after this one. I can't quite remember, but I didn't realize that there was a similar, or not similar, the exact same highlighter in each of these palettes when I purchased the second one. And of course, Ravage was the highlighter that I gravitated towards in this little palette. And if you saw the usage on the highlighter in here, Ravage was also the one that I used the most. So there's a lot of overlap when it comes to NARS products. As you already know, I don't need that many Orgasms, that many Lagunas, or even that many Ravages. So once I'm finished, which is going to take a very long time, but once I completely finish off this, I will be good because I will only have one Laguna bronzer, I will only have one Orgasm blush, one Orgasm highlighter, and then it's just the overlap in these two. So I'm going to work my way through them at some point, but once this bad boy is out, I feel a little less overwhelmed with the amount of overlap within NARS. They do a lot of it. I don't quite know why. I get it to a point because if you're not going to collect everything, then you can at least have one of each in different palettes and you're not necessarily going to feel like you're missing out. But if you do have, not that I collect NARS, but if you do have multiple face products from them, you are going to have a lot of overlap with their products, especially the blush and the bronzer. They seem to be in absolutely everything. So these are the 4 products that I, ooh, let's hope I didn't break that. The 4 products that I have from NARS, and this is still intact, so we're good. So we are going to move on from NARS, and we have a couple of other brands that have multiple products, and the one that's sitting in front of me is Cover FX. So these are just the little monochromatic duos. I have 2 blushes and a bronzer. This is my bronzer in Sun-Kissed Bronze. So I have not reached for this one as of yet. They all come with the matte and the shimmer. So I purchased this, actually I think I got all of these at Winners or TJ Maxx. So they were discounted, which was really nice because I didn't want to pay full price for them, but I was super interested in them from the moment that they were released. I would like to try this out in the summer because I feel like that is when it's going to suit me best. I do think that this is a little bit deep for me, but come summertime, I'll be able to make it work. Now, if you watched my part one, which was I talked about my bronzers in there, you could see that as individual bronzers, I don't have a lot. But when it comes to my palettes, I do have quite a bit of them included in there. So I feel like even though my single bronzer collection is very small, I still have quite a lot to get me through for the next who knows how long. Now, this is a duo blush in Pink Dahlia. So this one is super pretty. I've probably dipped into this one once or twice, but again, you have your matte and your shimmer. Oh, sorry. I am more of a matte bronzer and matte blush kind of girl, but I think that the shimmer is nice come summertime. So I feel like that's when I would get most use out of it. And then this one is soft peach, but I have to be careful because when I bought it, it was crumbling and broken, and it still is. So it's just the matte side for some reason, and there's little pieces falling out all the time. So unfortunately, this one's broken. I'm going to go toss out this little bit, but I really do like the peach blushes, so I really do like this, and I'm going to hold on to it even though it's broken. I'm not going to get rid of it. So I'm going to go throw these little pieces out, and I will be right back. Okay, so I had 3 from Cover FX that I just went over. The next bunch is going to be from ABH, and all of these are older. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is this little compact. This is the blush kit in Radiant. So this was the pink one. They also had the purple one. I like this. I have not used it in quite a while, but I really do enjoy this. This shade down here I think has been my favorite, and that one is called, I don't know, I can't read it in the dark right now. So anyways, this has been my favorite, but I also really like the others to mix in with it too. But again, like I said, it's been a long time since I've worn this, so I would like to try dipping into this. I purchased this when it was on clearance because they were getting rid of it. I never bought the purple one. I was more so just interested in this version of it, and I'm kind of happy I stuck with that. I have seen them Poshmark or wherever, but I'm good with just the one that I have. So if you watch my channel, you would have seen this. I don't know what has happened to the packaging, but it has been so destructive. This is in Paranormal, well, it was in Paranormal Pantivity. So this is the this is the contour kit. And I just recently hit pan in this banana shade here. I have still been working quite a bit on this shade. I just started switching to my Laura Mercier loose powder because I just kind of prefer that at the moment. And then this is more of a finishing powder. Again, I have a couple of bronzers / contour. I could probably get away with this, but I feel like these two right here are a little bit too orange for me. I might be able to get away with this one or mixing them, doing something with them, but this is quite old as well. I purchased this one at Winners quite a long time ago, so I'm happy I at least have one pan in this now. I would like to hit pan in these two at some point. I know I've gotten a lot of use in that because I would mix those two together, so I'm kind of surprised there's no pan in here just yet, but sooner than later, I'm sure it's going to come around. But that is what this one is looking like. It is just, I don't know what has happened, but it's just so destructive. And then last but not least is a glow kit. So I purchased, this is the only one that I have, even though originally I had purchased a couple of them. I did have sun dipped, but that was way too deep for me. So this one is in that glow, which is no longer available. I liked mixing these two together. It has been such a long time since I've reached for this, and a part of me has been itching to get some of the other ones. I've seen them on Poshmark. So there's Sweet Glow, or Sweets, that was like a limited edition one, and then there's Sugar Glow, which Sephora still has. Sun Dipped, I think they still have too, but like I said, I did have that one, but it was way too deep for me. I don't even know why I bought it. This I feel is a little bit too deep for me as well. I could probably get away with it like deep in the summertime, but if I pair these two together, I find it's not so bad. I can kind of like get away with the two of these. I'm probably okay, and I don't need any more of these as much as I would like them. I think that's just the collection mentality that I'm trying to not have. I don't have it with everything, but these are my 3 ABH face palettes, and like I said, they're all very old. So the last brand that I have a couple of palettes from is Too Faced. And I bought these, I want to say around the same time, just a couple of years ago. So the first one is the Sweet Peach Glow. So this has all 3 products in it. I have not reached for this one at all, but I couldn't pass this one up when it went on sale. So I purchased this one. It's going to be interesting to use this one eventually because the formula I think is that baked gelée formula. So it is different. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about the bronzer. It is kind of different for me, so it's going to be interesting to see how I'm able to use that or pair it with other bronzers and make it work for me. And then the other one is the Natural Face. So this I purchased off of Too Faced's website. I think this one was on sale as well. So this one you have the 2 blushes, 2 highlighters, 2 bronzers. And I feel like I'd be able to make this one work a little bit better for me. Haven't dipped into this one either, but it still smells lovely. And I noticed in this after that we have Satin Sheets in here, which is a shade that is in the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. And I have been working on that. It wasn't a project and I was using it as a highlighter, and it's a highlighter in this palette. I think the shades are slightly different when I had swatched them, but that was quite a while back. So I'm kind of curious to see how close they actually are. And if when I started reaching for Satin Sheets as a highlighter in my Bonbons palette, if that was just subconsciously because I saw it in here, or what the reasoning behind that one was. But these are my 2 Too Faced palettes. Haven't used these ones either, but I would like to get some use on them eventually. So now everything that I'm going to show you, every brand just has a 1 product from. So I'm going to show you this one just randomly picked up from Pat McGrath. This was from, I believe, their 21 holiday collection, and this is in Galactic Sun. So there's Divine Rose, Desert Orchid, and Golden Nectar. So those are the 3 shades in here. Super pretty. I've heard such good things about these blushes, and I had swatched the highlighter and it looked very pretty. So I'm really curious to see how these blushes are going to work on me, because there was a couple that I wanted to purchase before I ended up buying this one. And I think these were 2 of like the 4 shades that I wanted to try. So I'm curious to see how the blushes work on me, and if I like them enough, then maybe once my collection kind of settles down a bit, then I'll actually purchase singles. So while I'm over on that side, I have this by Smashbox. This is the Spotlight Palette in Pearl. I want to say this was like a collab with Casey Holmes, I think. I could be wrong, but let me know down below. This is what it looks like. Of course, this was the one that I had always reached for, but then I started to kind of experiment with the other 2, and I think it's this one that is one of them. Just seems to be more of like, oh, maybe not. Maybe it's not even this palette. I don't even know. I thought something seemed to be a little bit more of just like no base to it, but I guess it's not this palette. But again, I could probably get away with pairing this and one of these 2 in the summertime, but this time of year in the winter, this lightest shade here is more for me. I would like to get some use on this as well because it is older again in my collection, and eventually knock this one out. So I've enjoyed it though when I did use it. So a palette that I really wanted and have not used, and I've had it for a few years, is this blush palette by Jouer. Now, a couple of these blushes just called to me so much, like basically this whole side, and is it the bottom blush? No, this top one. This one just seems a little bit too deep for me, and this one's a little bit too bright. Of course, I will actually eventually wear them all. And then the highlighter right in here. I haven't reached for this, and I don't know why. I think I've just been focused on so much other blushes and products and stuff like that that I haven't actually given this any love that it deserves. So I'm hoping that sooner than later I can pull this in, I can get some use on it, because I think it's super pretty, and from when I was swatching it out before, the shades seemed very nice, and I've heard that the Jouer stuff is decent, so I would like to try and get some use on this and see how I feel about it. We're gonna chat about my Tarte palette. Now, I think this one is, it's Tarteist Clay Blush Palette. The inside says the Blush Authority, so that's kind of what I call it. Now, let's just have a little chat, because this blush right here was a very vibrant, like peachy pink. If I can find a photo of this palette, I will put it up so you can see what it looks like. This got so dry. Like, we'll see, we'll check the usage in here first. So you can see that this is the one that I've used the most of. And I still really enjoy that shade, even though I haven't used this palette in a long time. But I never actually reached for this shade. And I don't know what happened, but it got so dry and crumbly. So almost like that Cover FX one in Soft Peach. Every time I open it up, it crumbles. It was like that, except it was to the point where it was just dry. At least the Cover FX one isn't super dry. But this was so crumbly, so I just eventually got tired of opening up this palette and having crumbs everywhere. So I decided to declutter it. So this 4-pan palette went down to a 3-pan, and I really like the Tarte blushes. I really loved Party, which was like the Sephora birthday gift a few years ago that everybody has. I've used it up. It was one of my favorite shades from them. I really do enjoy their blushes, so I am happy that I have these because I only have a couple of singles, which you would have seen in the last video. But I just never think to reach for this because I actually forgot that I had it. Like, I remembered over the last little while, but before I actually went through my collection sometime last year, I actually forgot all about this palette. So this is one that I want to pull to the surface as well at some point and get some more use on it because I really enjoy the Tarte blushes, so why not try and use them up while I have them. We're gonna go through this little pile here. This is my Hourglass. So this is the Ambient Lighting Edit Mini. This was from a couple of Christmases ago. It is so, so pretty. I tried to use this. The only thing is the pan size is just too small for any of my brushes, and I had a really difficult time reaching for it because of that reason. Now, I don't want to necessarily get rid of it. It has been a thought, but I don't know if I'm going to actually do it or not because I do want to use this. I do like the Hourglass stuff, even though it's been a very long time since I've actually like used something from Hourglass besides purchasing this one. I used to have a mini, I think it was Dim Light. I went through that. I enjoyed it. I really wanted to try out this blush. So I do want to hold on to this, but I want to figure out how I can make it work for myself because these pans are so small. A thought that's going through my head right now is to depot this, but I don't know if I want to do that or if how easy that is. If you've ever depotted a Hourglass palette, let me know down below if it was easy or not, or if it was worth it or not. And maybe I'll take that into consideration and see what I end up doing with this in the future. But I think I want to hold on to this. It's my only Hourglass face palette, Hourglass anything in my collection, so I am going to hold on to it at least for now and just kind of see where we go from there. This thing from Wet n Wild, I've swatched this a few times, but I have never used it. This is the contouring palette in Dolce Latte, or no, Dolce Luce, I don't know. I can't pronounce it. I don't know why I purchased this. It was like so hyped up, but it's honestly like, I could probably get away with this, but I don't think I could get away with that. And it's like creamy to touch, even though it's a powder. Oh, sorry, talking too much here. I don't know. I wanted to use this last year. I wanted to pull it out and focus on it, but then I just kind of like looked right past it. I may end up decluttering this at some point because I don't think I'm ever actually going to reach for it. But of course, for now, we're just going to hold on to this because this is not a declutter video. But yeah, I don't even know why I have this. My mixtape by Mac and Jeremy Scott collab. You guys, if you watch my channel, you have seen this and you have seen what it looks like as of recently. So this was the highlighter, this was the bronzer, this is the blush that I recently hit pan in. I want to finish this face palette off at some point. This year would be perfect. Next year is okay as well, but I really want to get that blush going, and I enjoy wearing it on its own. I do like to layer my products, but I really enjoy wearing this on its own as well. It's super pretty, super light. It just almost gives me like a flush of color instead of like so much intensity, which I don't mind sometimes, but I feel like I don't need to blend it out too much afterwards. I can just apply it and then move on with the rest of my stuff. So this is going to be out of my collection at some point, but I love the fact that it's a CD. This whole collab, this whole, like, I bought the whole collection because it was like me as a collection, the whole music theme. I absolutely love this, and I really have enjoyed this this whole palette. The bronzer, I think, was a little bit too orange for me, but I made it work. I really liked the highlighter. I know a lot of people didn't like this palette so much, but I enjoyed it. So I'm really happy to see where I'm at with this palette, and I would love to see it completely finished by the end of this year. And then we're gonna chat about the Luminizer Squad. So I got this one at Winners a few years ago. This is the only thing I have from the Balm. I think I purchased an eyeshadow palette, but I decluttered that a while ago. I felt like I would wear these two shades, but those two were not for me. And then I ended up discovering later, because last year I got this Oon's Eye mystery bag, and this palette came in there. So this is their Solmana highlighting palette, and they're not the same, but they remind me of each other. So you have the purple shifted one is on the top of this palette. Yeah, the purple shift is actually in the top corner here. You have the yellow, you have the pink, and then down in the corner here, you just have like your gold shade. So they're not the same, but they seem to be very similar in a way. And I would prefer this one over this one, but I do want to try and get some use on here because I have had it for a while. But yeah, I just thought it was super interesting afterwards when I was kind of going through my palettes, deciding what I wanted to make my Pan That Face palette this year. And I was like, oh, these two are similar but totally different in a way as well, because if you look at this one, in the pan, you can kind of see that it's a little purple, but it's more just the shift of the actual shade, whereas in here, it's a straight purple highlighter. So I enjoy that as well. I have worn this one a few times and liked it. I just want to try and get some use on the Luminizer one. And then I think my last one that I have to talk about is my newest one, and this is from Sigma. So this is the Berry Glow, which I believe was their holiday collection last year. But I placed a Sigma order for the first time in years, because the first and only product I ever purchased from them was their Kabuki brush, which, by the way, I don't like. This is such a cute little insert, so I keep it. But this was like, they had such a good sale going on, so I ended up buying quite a few things. So I'm really excited to start dipping into this as well. You have the Sizzle highlighter and the Berry Love blush, which they now sell as singles as well, so that's pretty cool. If I really like one or the other or both, instead of buying a compact or like a duo blush, I could just buy the singles if I want. So I'm really excited about dipping into this one as well. Yeah, that is my collection. So this is my newest one. So that is everything for my face palettes. So let me know which ones you have, which ones you've tried, which ones you are curious about, and which ones have you had in your collection before but decluttered. Let me know your thoughts on these palettes below. And that is everything for today's video. So I will be filming my eyeshadow singles next, and that will be going up right after this one. And then, of course, my eyeshadow palette is going to be the finale. So down in the description box, I am going to have a link for my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters, which was part 1. I will have the playlist for all of these for this collection series this year, so you can also go check that out. And then yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.